Welcome to the Building a Brand podcast interview series. In this series, we will sit down and speak with entrepreneurs who have gone through the grind and who are continuing to grind day in and day out. We will discuss their journeys into business ownership, the paths they took, the challenges they faced, what got them through those challenges, and of course, we're going to talk business. More specifically, we're going to talk about their business and their entrepreneurial journey. Again, I am your host, Jeremy Patton, and you are tuning in to the Building a Brand interview podcast series. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Building a Brand podcast series. I am your host, Jeremy Patton, and I have a special guest with me, Mari Torres, and we are going to sit down and talk about online business management and how implement an online business manager could take your business to a whole nother level and help you streamline things and help you out with your back-end office stuff. Mari, for those that do not know you, can you please give us a bit of your background, a little bit of your what it is that you provide as for your business and with your business?
Yes. So my name is Mari Torres, and I'm an online business manager. I'm helping entrepreneurs manage and build and organize their business by optimizing their systems and leveraging people. So one of the key things that I will focus on mainly in my position is just utilizing the resources that, a business need for it to actually have a smooth day-to-day operations. So
Okay.
I've been in management and leadership roles for over 10 years. So I just take all those years of experience of just working with teams and systems and creating processes and just took it to an online space.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now, how did you get into this space? How did you transition and figure out, as far as packaging your experience as managing teams and transition it into your own business and providing it as a service for entrepreneurs?
So when I think about business management, I really think that it's there's like a universal foundation that any industry can use or to follow when it comes to business management. So I was a property manager for a good bit of those 10 years.
Okay.
So being a property manager, I was managing teams, recruiting teams, managing the vendors and the contractors, the renovation projects, or just any project in general, budgeting. So as a manager, you really are overseeing the full day-to-day operations and everything that actually intertwines with each other to really have a smooth, daily operations.
Right.
So I transitioned to the online space because I really wanted more flexibility in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I just had my first son as well, so I really wanted
Oh,
to work
nice.
from home.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I just grew up in a household of just like go-getters and entrepreneurs. So it was just in me to really be, to bring that lifestyle, to existence. So I just took all those skills that I know that is very important and vital for a business and just transferred it to the online space because I really was just researching. I'm like, what is the biggest thing that people are really doing right now? And this was like a couple of years ago, and that probably like 3 years ago, where I just noticed that there was so many business coaches and there's people just selling digital products, and it just was a whole different world. So now I say for myself that I went from managing physical assets to now digital assets. So it's kind of like
Right.
transferable, basically the day-to-day operations. It's just with good research, you just learn new systems and softwares and different types of resources that actually will run that type of business. But overall, like financial management, marketing management, team, project is essentially the same in any business. At least for me, it's the way that I see it, when it comes to those key components of just managing those different parts of a business.
Okay, I see. Thank you. Now, as an entrepreneur or a CEO, how is having a virtual business manager? How is that more beneficial than having an in-person business manager? Like, what are some of the benefits of having somebody that that isn't in office and on the scene?
So the biggest takeaway I would say is just the cost. It's cost effective.
Mhm.
You're not paying for someone to show up in the to an office. You're not paying for that internet service. You're not paying for an
Mhm.
actual brick and mortar. So there's certain businesses where you do need to meet in person. Like I reside in the Atlanta area, so I do have certain clients that I will meet with face to face.
Right.
But a lot of the work can be done remotely. And when it comes to an online business manager, we focus more on strategizing and the implementations of different strategies that we research that will be compatible for your business to scale.
Okay.
So it's not, so our focus is really a lot of like, I need to be in the computer, I need to research, I need to implement this type of system. So a lot of it is just that back end that nobody sees anyway. Like nobody
Okay.
got to see me at the office. So it's just like, I really think it's just the cost,
Mhm.
and that's one of the things that I, work with as a property manager is just creating a budget, and operating expenses is like one of the first things that you really target so that you can have more control and really maximize, your income.
Oh, wow. Nice. Okay. Now, as most entrepreneurs with juggling everything from the day-to-day tasks to growing their business, sometimes we don't know what it is that we do need. So if somebody knows that they need a help and they reach out for your assistance, is that something that you could help them, I guess, idolize or not idolize, but determine what areas of focus that you could help them out and maximize? Or is that something that they should roughly have in mind what they need exact assistance with? Because you mentioned
So
earlier doing research into the systems and everything.
yeah, so as I meant like before, like I mentioned, as far as like every business is different, but business management is very similar. So I would
Okay.
help them when it comes to researching what is the right resources, as I like to say, that they would need.
Okay.
So I have an advisory package and then just a discovery call. A free discovery call will determine that.
Okay.
Especially if you're in your beginning stages or you have a business, but you're stuck at like just the high, four figures and you want to at least make five figures per month. And so basically I will come in and I will look at your business from every angle, as the financials, the management, the teams, the projects that you have, the plans that you have, really create a cohesive like plan of action and business plan that we can, use as a blueprint to know
Mhm.
where we need to guide and where we need to start off first to really start organizing your business. Because there's a lot of people, I've seen this too, is that terminology could get really interchangeable.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of terms out there that they're different, but the concept is very similar. And so that's where I step in. That's, big on research is
Right.
just being able to differentiate, the difference, the key differences between terms, or, the right roles or the responsibilities that you need, or the key differences in the systems, because there's many like for example, there's so many CRMs, but not every CRM is going to have a feature that you probably don't even realize that you need for your business, but it's a
Mhm.
feature that you should. And so it's kind of like navigating to know what you need to invest in and what you should do first, trying to look at everything, instead of just thinking about the now. A lot of
Right.
entrepreneurs, they want to focus on their idea and what they want to create, but there's so many different components that really will drive that idea to an existence. So definitely will help them to maneuver around that.
And that's very important. Again, as an entrepreneur, you're focused on what's happening right now, and you're focusing on so many different things, whereas you don't really have the time or the bandwidth to do the research to find out the differences between the different systems and the different options that are out there to help elevate your business needs. So that's something that you help out with. And, I think that's important to highlight. A lot of
Yeah,
people need that for sure. Now, speaking
that's
about differentiation between different terms, there's a little bit of confusion between virtual assistants and online business managers. What would you say is some of the biggest differences between the two?
So a VA is more tax oriented. So they're going to receive a list of to-dos and they're going to go ahead and tackle it. So they will get a lot of the job done. But an online business manager, essentially, they're there to help you to strategize more on the business side and creating systems and implementing different strategies that are aligned with your business plan as well as your business goal. So it's more on the strategizing end, and they work more of a leadership role because if you're not there, an online business manager can manage your business while you're on vacation, basically. And especially if they have a system in place. A virtual assistant will be somebody managed by an online business manager and just making sure that the OBM is overseeing the tasks that the VA is doing. And
Okay.
there's so many different VAs as well. So like they could be a tech VA, they could be just an admin VA. So it's just, adding on or recruiting the perfect VA for a business. And you can have a VA and an OBM, or you could just have an OBM at first to focus on the strategy building of your business prior to actually implementing like an actual team and system in place.
Oh, nice. Okay. Okay. And what is a approach as far as, because with VAs, typically as you said, they're task oriented. So you usually pay either by the hour or by the task. How is the online business manager structure set up? Do you charge by the hour, or is it the task, or is it a time period, like a month-to-month thing? How does that work?
So it really there's a retainer package and then there's a strategy package that I do have. Now, when it comes to pricing, there are OBMs that charge at an hourly rate. I don't charge at an hourly rate. However, like I do map out roughly the time that I will have to dedicate monthly to a particular business or to a client and then charge for that amount. So I have it like a flat monthly rate for a retainer package. And that's for those who are existing businesses and have
Okay.
multiple projects. So I will enroll them into a retainer package because I know that I'm going to work on multiple projects and they have a team already and they want to just go ahead and just optimize it better and utilize those resources a bit better and just bring efficiency. So that's more of a long-term project. So I have a retainer with a minimum of a 3-month contract. And then
Okay.
those can actually turn into loyal client to where it's just a back-to-back contract or retainer month to month.
Right.
Especially if it's a business that's thriving and growing, then it's just like you're gonna want an online business manager, just like you go to a restaurant and there's a GM or the manager there like every week. So it's essentially developing that type of ecosystem but virtually. And so there's that. And then as far as like an advisory where I would help you is a flat rate, but I'm helping you come up with a strategy and to organize it into a nice plan of action report. But then you're off to do it on your own. If you want me to do it, then we go into a retainer package.
Okay.
Businesses, you just know the time and dedication. So I do have my plans. I just have it starting at 2,000 per month right now. So
Okay.
once we have a discovery call, then we're able to determine, well, you got a team of 10, you got these different projects. I might
Right.
have to charge you the 3 or 4,000, but yeah. So it really goes based off how big the business is.
Okay, nice. So basically, depending on how much service and the scope of assistance you need, or that would be dedicated, that will determine kind of the package and the structure of the deal. Oh,
Yes.
okay. Now, as an entrepreneur, how does one know or determine, like, how do you know when it's time to consider hiring an OBM? Like, what's some
So
telltale signs?
when you start to experience burnout and you're managing a lot of your business on your own, like the day-to-day operations, like if you're reaching out to your marketing assistant, you're reaching out to your VA, you're talking to the bookkeeper, if you're managing all of those small details and you're straying away from, mapping out your next project or your next
Mhm.
idea or focusing on networking, it's like your time is being pulled away on the most important part of what it is to scale your business when it comes to you as a CEO, as an entrepreneur. Like you're
Okay.
the brand, so you want to go out and network, you want to find ideas, you want to work on your next project. You don't want to be Monday through Friday having to contact, everybody on your team and make sure the project is on point or is
Right.
on the ball, is rolling. So that's when an OBM comes in, and usually an entrepreneur who's the high, I want to say at least making like the high or mid four figures to five figures per month, that's leading to like a six-figure year.
Right.
They will be a great candidate for OBM on a retainer package. If you're just starting your business, then there's packages, especially for me, and I know that there's probably other packages out there where it's just a one-time fee, like an advisory call,
Mhm.
where we'll look at everything from all angles, and then it's up to you. Because, when you're starting a business, you start with different budgets. So I really
Right.
don't know if you're going to be able to do a retainer or just have an advisory call. So that will determine what you will, when, or that will determine when you need an OBM. And
Okay.
sometimes people start off with a VA if they just have small tasks that they don't want to do. And that's
Mhm.
perfectly fine. But an advisory call with a business manager who's going to help you look at every angle of your business will help you determine if you should get a VA, like, or who's the key roles that you need to hire at this
Right.
moment. If you're going to be a contractor or a W-2. So yeah.
Okay. Now, earlier you mentioned that your retainer packages start roughly around 2000, correct? As far as the advisory call, what does that start off at? Like, what range is that for somebody that's new?
So my advisory call right now, I actually have it for 597. So what it
Okay.
includes is two 1 hour sessions. The first hour is going to be an actually strategy session or the plan of action. And then the second hour will be an accountability. And those are
Oh,
scheduled
nice.
apart from each other. And then it's also a 14-day period of open line of communication between me and the actual business owner or the client. But the first call is really to come up with a detailed plan of action. And then
Okay.
I'll deliver that plan of action to them, as well as create a workflow visual of just like a visual map of how they want their business to run, kind of like giving a visual on the SOP instead of
Mhm.
creating actual SOP, but for them to just see their whole business on just like one sheet of paper,
Right.
where they feel like, okay, the onboarding process, the recruiting for a team, and like
Mhm.
this system is gonna run this, then we're gonna have these emails set up right after this onboarding call. So they will get a workflow visual, the plan of action, 2 hours. Then that last of 2 hours, which is the accountability session, we're gonna go kind of action, and I'm gonna see what you got done, what you didn't get done,
Uh-huh.
and see any struggles or questions that you might have faced during those 2 weeks. And of course, I'll have the 2 weeks of open line of communication. So that one is for 597.
Okay.
Um, the one-time deal is more of just like, I'm holding your hand, here I am,
Mhm.
but you got to do the work, you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
So it's very cost effective. And if you're someone who's willing to do the work, then by all means, it's not that I'm leaving you. alone. So I'm there to create a plan for you, a
Hmm.
workflow, get you a visual, and
Yes.
actually be able to read it and, converse with somebody while, creating this business.
And I think the fact that you have the second call kind of to for the accountability to make sure that people actually follow your steps and your guidelines, like that is very important because like we get so much information, and sometimes it's we're overwhelmed with implementing these things into our business. So setting up and being able to come back to you and saying and showing you what we've done, and having you point out things that we may have missed or what have you, that's tremendous. That's a huge value right there. that,
I think that's one of the big things about when you're starting a business, you have so many ideas. And like you
mhm.
said, like there's so much information out there. That's why it's just I wanted to create something that's along those lines to help people just, navigate through the chaos and the noise because I've been through it too. Like there's so many different people out there talking about niching down when I started my business. And I
Yes.
was just like, niching down. What do you mean niching down? There's so many different ways to niche
Uh-huh.
down. It's like I have to create my own way of niching down,
Yes.
so that it can, so I just understand that sometimes it's a struggle and sometimes we can't afford it. Like when I started, I had my 9 to 5, but I was trying to build something on the side and I was really all over the place when I started building my business, especially having my 9 to 5. And it's just like a lot of the things that I have learned over that time, like I can teach you in 1 hour so that you don't have to go
Yes.
through the struggle. So yeah.
And having that experience and that knowledge because you have gone through that process is so important. Being able to point out again, if especially for entrepreneurs that are all over the place or that are just starting off, they may not know how to organize and set up a structure within their company. So having your expert knowledge and eyesight and perspective definitely goes a long way. Now,
Yes.
you mentioned niching down earlier. Now, do you work with specific type of entrepreneurs and specific industries, or is what is your ideal client? Like who's a good fit for you and your services?
So when it comes to the retainer package, definitely make 6 figures, but it's someone who's in the service base
Mm.
or a service provider. And so when I think about service, it's not just has to be online. It could be electrician providing electrical services, so someone
Okay.
who's really providing an actual service. I do work with people in the Atlanta, but because I'm online based, I,
Mhm.
work nationally. So those in the service base who want to, get their back end systems and their team set up. Because service based, they're very interchangeable, like I said before, as far as like the terms or like the way you want to run your business. So
Mhm.
there are a lot of different implementations or strategies for each industry, but the core foundation can be very similar. So those in the service base. So it could be real estate, working on them, working their system and, brokers getting
Okay.
their actual CRM set up. It could be an electrician or HVAC. I have experience with property management, so I just know the language of like components and parts of a house. And of course, online businesses when it comes to business coaches or those providing an actual service.
Mm.
So it could
Okay.
be like it could be for another VA who's providing, administrative service.
Right.
Um, so yeah, just to break it down when it comes to service based.
Okay, nice, nice. Now, earlier you mentioned that in your family you have a lot of entrepreneurs and hustlers, and how has that have an impact on you, not only growing up but also transitioning to entrepreneur yourself?
So I'm really grateful that I do get I have a good support system because they
Mhm.
understand the struggle. They're of course they're older. I'm one of the
Okay.
youngest in the family. So they still don't know about like the new wave or the new
Yes.
trends. But as far as the mentality and the mindset and the hustle, like they're really there. They're, you know, they push me to really, you know, have faith and in things that I don't see, you know, right in front of me right then at that moment. Especially I grew up in church too. So they
So
incorporate
faith
that to really
plays a big
motivate me.
part.
Yeah. So like my mom, she has her own boutique, and she's a hustler. She's such an entrepreneur. She does translating, and she works for administrative services for her church, and she has her own boutique. And it's who she is too. Like she's the manager, the planner, and she loves fashion. So she's
Oh
just
wow.
her own way of just making money and what she enjoys.
Yes.
My grandmother, she had a what's that called? An alteration clothing store or
Yeah.
clothing shop. My uncle, he's a mechanic, he's a mobile mechanic, you know. I can't even, it's just a lot. So it's just, I'm really grateful. My cousin, she's great at sales. She's like the bomb at sales. Like, I don't know, she just have the gift of gab. I don't know.
Right.
So it was like, you know, having that circle around you, you can nitpick at people to really build who you are, instead of feeling alone, or even going to a networking event as well, like a business summit. So it's just like it really helps you, you know, and
Yes.
not feel alone. Because a lot of it is just when business building, you want to see other people who've been through it, but also know how to really get your mind straight, you know, when you feel a little hazy. Because if you don't see something happening right now in your business, like some people might go crazy. They have like anxiety, or they just like, I want to see it now. I want to see it
Right.
now. And it's just trust the process,
You
you know?
definitely have to trust the process. And it's a journey, you know.
Yeah, but
And
it's great.
I love it. I love it. So with all these inspirational people around you that are doing and have their own business ventures, was that something that, or growing up, did you know that you wanted to also do your own thing and go into entrepreneurship, or is that something that developed over time?
um, I definitely had a feeling. I know, like early on, in like in high school, I just knew that I wasn't gonna be around the people that I was looking at every single day. So my mind automatically shift to, I'm in freshman in high school, and I'm like, I want to go to college, I want to get this degree, and then I want to start a business here. And I really mapped it out when I was young, but I didn't really step into it like mentally until in my 20s, you know,
Okay.
because kind of like I was messing around with it, you know, just like messing around with the idea, but I wasn't as committed. So I ended up just really focusing and working hard my 9 to 5, building my career, because I just knew that I was like, I want to be a leader, I want to make money, I
Yes.
want to help people, and that's it, you know. But definitely when I got older, and I look back of like how my family is, where they have that flexibility and they could do whatever they want anytime. And I'm just like, you know what? I want that for myself too. Like I never realized how important it is to have that, you know, that control over your schedule when it comes to building your own business. And that's when it really hit me, and it woke up and the light bulb was on and stayed on, where I was focused to really go in and I was committed to it. Um, so it was instilled in me when I was very young to be
Yes.
independent, a go-getter, and knowing that there was more out there for me. But it wasn't until I realized like the most important part of my life, which is like time with my family, control of the money that I make,
Right.
that it really hit me that I'm like, okay, entrepreneurship is for me, you know, and it's gonna be a tough road, but it's for me. Like I'm
Yes.
willing to go for it because I'm gonna get exactly what I want. So
And you found your
um
way.
yeah, it took me a while, but it's there.
Now,
Um,
what was your first business venture? Like how was it, the OBM? Was that your first business venture, or how did you find your way to OBM? What was that journey?
so okay, when I was on the road to really start my entrepreneurship, journey, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do jewelry because at one point I was just into jewelry.
Mm,
And then I was like, I love candles. I'm gonna make candles. But I'm the type of person that I like to try stuff. And I'll
right.
try it one day. Like in one day, I can know if I'm gonna do something forever or not.
Okay.
I don't need to try it for a week or two. I just be like, no, I know this is not for me.
Yeah.
So I started off just doing physical products. And
Hmm.
then the time spent on it, I just realized like, okay, my mind is not really, it's not being challenged to think strategically and to be
Mm,
on that mode because when I in my 9 to 5 in my career, one of the things that I really love is that like 24/7 my mind had to be on point. As a property manager, you
yes.
never know. I used to get calls at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning because of a maintenance emergency. So
Hmm.
my level of just mental capacity to just be alert, it was just something that I enjoy. Like I just feel like it keeps me going. Um, so I tried all those things and then I was just like, listen, I'm just doing virtual assistant, something easy. And I tapped into VA, and this is a mistake that I think a lot of people do too, is that when they start a business, they want to tap into something that they know is quick money.
Hmm.
And I was like,
Right.
virtual assistant, that's quick money. I landed 2 clients with the quickness. But the thing about it is that being a VA, I was required to do all these different tasks and it wasn't as consistent. And so I just realized, okay, I'm not a task person because I like systems. I like to implement something and walk away, come back and know that it's still working without me
Right.
staring at it. So knowing that I had to be there and it's just like my level of energy being inconsistent because it's like working on different projects at different times. I got a rest time and then a high time. So it's just like I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Um, so that's when I transitioned. I fell upon a OBM and like I learned a lot from her and her, content that she has put out. And that's when I was just like, that's almost exactly what I'm doing. Like I
Right.
managed physical properties and now I could manage digital properties, like digital real estate. Like
Hmm.
it's easy, it makes sense. And I'm still in that position of a leadership. I just really enjoy leadership roles. I just like helping people try to, get rid of and organize the chaos in their mind and for them to just really focus and really
Okay.
get something going. So as a VA and me trying to make candles and me trying to do jewelry, like it was not really tapping into my full potential and what I really enjoy doing, which is like, you know, getting this organized and clean and in a
Yes.
rotation that makes sense. So
Okay.
it was a struggle navigating into that.
Now, early on in your entrepreneurial journey, what were some of the like the biggest learning lessons that you had along the way beyond, realizing that and finding and identifying what exactly fulfilled you and, helped you fulfill your purpose a lot broader than, the VA or, the jewelry, the candles, etc.
So two big things that I really learned is don't chase the money. Like,
Hmm.
when you're really good at something and if you're really in your full potential, you really can monetize on what you enjoy. And so that was a struggle for me because I was clouded by what I saw. And
Hmm.
when you're stepping into entrepreneurship, you see people that you see people that are saying, "Oh, you can make 6 figures today. You can
Hmm.
do, you can create your whole business in 10 minutes." And so that anxiety that comes from like what you can do and what you can't, like what you can do today, what you can't do, or what you should
Yeah.
do, and just like people get funding. Oh, start your LLC, like that's a little jittery. I don't know for you, but I'm a person of organization and
Yes.
systems. So I'm just like, this is too much. information. So I really was trying to focus more on me. Like, what do I enjoy? What brings me a peace of mind? What am I great at? And just focus on monetizing that and not focus on trying to get a quick bag, you know?
I love that.
And not focusing on the money. And it's funny because I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and then I was just hearing them, and they're just like, I want to start something new. I don't know if I'm making enough money at work. I got my 9 to 5, and I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to fill an application for this job. I'm like, that's great. Yeah, go get more money. But it's just like when you start just focusing on money, you start to lose yourself because now you're just like, I need 6 figures.
Yes.
Instead of saying that I know I will make 6 figures because I know who I am. It's like a different type of energy. So that was one of the biggest lessons. It's just like don't focus so much on the money. Focus more on who you are. Because once you know who you are, you know the tone of voice that you're gonna speak. It's not filtered. It's not. It's just it's you. It's authentic. It's not a veil whatsoever. So once you know that, you know who to talk to, you know who you can automatically engage with. Like you can just feel that energy where you just know this person clicks with you. So it makes it easier instead of always trying to think about the next move and just like, okay, I want to make $500,000. Like it's great to have those on the vision board. I'm not saying anything negative about it, but when you focus so much on the outcome instead of the process, like you lose yourself in the process.
Absolutely.
So
I agree.
So that's one of my lessons.
Okay.
And niching down, that was a big struggle. Like that was something else too. But you know, once I found like niching down, like actually getting to like my client offers and my ideal client, like all of that didn't come without, you know, me actually going through the process of knowing like exactly what I'm good at or like what brings me a piece of. If I didn't know that, then I wouldn't have been able to really step into the next phase of getting my ideal client and creating a client offer and stuff.
Right.
Like that.
What was that process like as far as niching down? Did you find yourself servicing people that were outside your ideal clientele, or how did that occur with you niching down?
So at first, one of the biggest hurdles was really like to determine my ideal client, but more so what kind of service I really wanted to provide. So I know I like to organize, even in my house. Like I just I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
So even in my house, like I have my closet set up a certain way so they could be easy for me to go in, get my outfit and just get out and get ready. Like the covers in my kitchen, you know, everything is just set up in a way where it's just easier for me to maneuver. Like I have all of like necessities in a certain location. So it's easier for me to budget because I know, okay, I got 2 toothpaste, I got 2. So I just took that and I just developed a system for creating a business. Just like if I know that if I have all the business information here and marketing is going to set up like this and then organize this, I have a clear idea that it's easier to navigate, you know. I had a client who had one time and just all of his business information like in a Google Drive, and it was mixed together like business information, you know, marketing ads and, you know, freebies, everything's just all in one. And I just went in there and I created all these different folders, and it was just like, it was easier for me to find whatever I needed to find because it was just, you know, organized in a certain way. But the beginning stages that were confusing for me was just like, okay, since I know I like to organize, maybe I should organize offices. Maybe I should organize people's homes. Maybe now I was thinking about like I know I like to organize. Yeah, like I know I like to do it and it brings me peace of mind knowing that I can move easily. But now it's like, what industry do I want to go into now? Like that's my peace of mind, like organizing, getting stuff together. But what industry? I could do real estate, but it's just like, okay, I mean, I'm doing property management. This was at the time I was doing property management. But it's like, what am I gonna organize offices? I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go to the store and buy bins and go to somebody's house and organize that. No, I don't want to do that. So then I just started thinking about my experience. So I got my peace of mind, which is organizing, and just, developing what industry I want to work in. I'm like, I don't want to do physical products. I want to deal with people who are providing a service where it's not tangible, or at least the majority of it is not tangible.
Right.
And I just went into my experience, and I was just like, I did property management. I managed teams, projects, renovations, systems, budget. So now let me just put it all together.
It makes
Let me
sense.
organize your
Absolutely.
business, your projects, your teams, and I get it going for you. And the only reason why that it was so hard for me to gain clarity on that is because of the noise and the chaos. And in addition to just wanting, like, as I mentioned before, I was thinking about money. I'm like, I'm gonna do virtual assistant. But I'm more of an implementer. I'm more of a like leader who's looking over the whole ecosystem and just making sure everything's, in order or on point. So I wasn't able to do that as a VA. So it kind of just commingled together. It just ended up just giving me a story and like clarity to just knowing this is how I want my day to day to be. So yeah, that was my process of niching down when it comes to just like, okay, I want to be clear on who I am, what I enjoy. And then now I could do it for other people. So now my focus is people who are on the service base that are online, where it's not so tangible, and who needs help organizing and managing their day to day. So yeah.
Okay. And earlier you mentioned how like there's so much information out there, and like especially when it comes to like starting different businesses, making money overnight, like get rich quick schemes and what have you. How do you block out all that and focus like on your purpose and focus on your journey and stay true to that purpose and journey?
So I create a plan of action for myself. I have a list of everything that I really want to get done, what I want to create. I usually just get a notebook and I just write pages of ideas. And then I go through it, I prioritize it, and then I reorganize it into different categories and just like a time frame and knowing what I should do first. And then now what I'm practicing more is just like not really going to my phone, you know, because of algorithm, if you want to say, is like I go on my phone and a lot of what I follow is really what I do on a day to day. So I'm not, my mind is being overly stimulated because I have, newsletters, or I'm part of, just a community, and my friends and people who are following Instagram is all about business and making money and funding and capital and real estate. So it's just I'm practicing to not look at my phone and really focus on that plan of action. But if I find myself stuck, that's when I start researching. I go on my phone or read newsletter articles, and I start using different terms. And then those are the moments where I overly stimulate my mind. But the purpose of me trying to find an answer to something that I'm probably struggling with. So plan of action is really the most important thing for me. And I have like a special notebook. I actually have my notebook here. This is my jotting notebook, all my courses or my ideas.
Wow, nice.
And then this is my actual notebook, my plan of action. So it's really nicely organized. Book. It is. Because I put personal and professional in there. So I have it split up into two of my personal and business goals. But that purple one is the one where it's not pretty whatsoever. The black book is where I have everything nice and looking pretty. I'm able to go in there and know where I'm at, if I'm accomplishing my goals. So I like the pen and paper, and I organize it in my phone. Like I have it everywhere. Like I have access to my ideas. I organize it on Trello. I use my Google Keep Notes and my notebook. So I really have it organized everywhere where I could see it constantly as a reminder. Because if it's like put away in the drawer, you're not seeing your plan and like seeing what it is that you're supposed to work on a daily. And then if you're sitting down trying to look at your phone and you get overly stimulated, you get distracted, you don't really focus on your goal. So definitely a plan of action and having like a separate your plan of action and your moment of planning from everything else. Like it's just like my office is my zen room. So it's like where I really start to think creatively. So
Nice.
I think people should have a place like a sanctuary where they could really think clearly and
Yes.
come up with a good plan of action.
And that's very important. And I'm glad that you like gave us a little bit of insight to your process, because as entrepreneurs, like we are, again, a lot of people are all over the place and they don't have that structure or that organization skills. So that's something, hiring you and your services as a OBM that you could bring and incorporate into other people's businesses. And that, I think that's very necessary and needed for a lot of people personally.
Yes, that's one of the big things. Is just like that's where you gain clarity. And when you start to see everything mapped out, like honestly, you start to see the holes in it that needs to get filled with something. So once you really like put everything, like to say, put all your cards on the table and look at everything from every angle, you really will be able to come up with a really good plan of action.
What would you say are, if you could give me three things, I'm gonna ask for three things. What are the three biggest benefits of hiring an OBM and having an OBM on, on your team, having somebody to help you out?
So one thing is that OBM, I really feel I just want to start off with saying connecting with an OBM that that you could connect with. They all
Okay.
have different personality traits. But the key takeaways or the key benefits of having an OBM is really trying so you could tap into the next level of who you are. And that comes in with flexibility and time and you focusing on stuff that are challenging you. So I would want to step in and take away everything that is distracting you. Like those day-to-day tasks and routines, those things need to be taken away from you. Just like I mentioned before, like when I do my plan of action, I need to be separated from like the whole world so I can really focus. And that's really a benefit from an OPM because you're not just hiring a regular person that that you're gonna have to assign tasks to. You're hiring a leader as well who's gonna show face and is gonna be prideful with your business as well because
Right.
it's a business. At the end of the day, it's like taking care of a baby. So you're gonna with an OBM, you get more time back. You don't experience burnout. You're going to be able to refocus and constantly have your business align with your business goals. With every stage or level that you go through in your business, it requires a new mind frame or a new mindset, basically. So the benefit with working with an OBM is allowing you to really tap into that next level and tap into that next mind frame and that mindset and scaling your business without being clouded with the day-to-day operations. Day-to-day operations are really, it's a headache. Like it's a headache even for me. Like even though I want to create something that makes it easy, but when I worked on property management, I worked years by myself in an office.
Okay.
So I was able to create something to where I would actually have a 4-hour work week. I really was able to create a schedule and interact with my residents and the vendors in a way that it's easier for me. So if I want to make the day-to-day operations easier for me, that means I want to make the day-to-day operations easier for you. So by me doing it easier for you is by taking it away from you, doing my own little remix to it so that you can really focus on growing. Like whatever that is, I feel like that's the number one benefit is to grow.
Yeah.
Is your mind, your business, grow your time and flexibility so that you can spend more time doing things that you enjoy. It's really about growing,
Yes.
and into that next level. So I think I gave more than 3 with like
What
small keywords, burnout, flexibility, and growth. So
and getting time back, I love it. I appreciate it because again, I see the benefits, but I've never sat down and spoken to OBM before. So seeing and hearing some of the elements that you bring to businesses is like very insightful. So thank you for breaking that down.
That makes me feel good.
Earlier, you mentioned that you are a new mother, correct?
Yes. Yes.
What is that like, and how have you found, I guess, balancing motherhood and being an entrepreneur?
Ooh.
Not the woo. Okay.
So I really took on this challenge. I'm gonna start my business and I'm gonna be a stay-at-home mom. This is my first son, and it's just like it hit me all at once. I was going a little bit crazy.
Okay.
In a good way though, because I was confused. So I really took time to really try to be with my son for like the first couple of months. Actually, after giving birth, I literally took my phone out and I was working. And the nurse was helping me, and I'm over here like, I gotta post this content. Hold up. I gotta post it. I gotta market my business. Hold on.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I didn't know how to juggle between the two. I just knew that I had to take care of a child and I had to take care of my business.
Yes.
So my schedule was really intertwining with each other. Like the times were overlapping with each other. But in that moment, like my son was my priority, but I didn't take time out. Like, like I was saying, like create a plan of action. I was putting myself last. So now I put myself first.
Okay.
And now I make sure that I'm good. Because if I'm good, then my son is good,
Yes.
my house is good, my business is good. So I played around with my schedule. That's really what it is. Time management. That's really what it is. It was a struggle. And then I didn't want to lose the essence of being a mom. Like I experienced those moments of love. And for a while I was just thinking about I gotta take care of him, I gotta feed him, I gotta bathe him. So now, because there's a lot of things organized or like, put into place in my, and we moved to a new house too. So like we moved to a new house.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we did so much in literally 2 weeks. So I just didn't get the time to really develop a really good schedule. So time management is the most important thing, and just taking care of myself. So whenever I can, I do it. I have to do it. So now it's definitely it's easier.
Okay.
Now I know, and his schedule is really is good to keep up with. Like my son I was blessed with a good boy. Like he makes sure he goes to bed at 9:30 because he's tired. So that's my time to do a lot of work, and then his first nap of the day, I'm able to just focus and go all the way in to get something done.
Okay.
So yeah, but me first, I need to.
Absolutely. And you put it so like I love the way you put it, because as an entrepreneur, yes, you have like a whole bunch of different responsibilities, but if you don't focus on taking care of yourself first, then the things that you're overseeing and the things that you have to also take care of, you fall short of being able to take care of everything at the same time. And so, making sure that to implement the self-care, making sure that your schedule is structured that fits you first and foremost, and then structuring everything else to incorporate and, be cohesive along your schedule. I think that's very key and important and brings everything together.
The way that you said it right now, too, as far as like structuring everything around it, like I want to add to that, and it's just fostering like the relationships that you have into this new position too. Being a mom and an entrepreneur, I had to like foster and transition like my best friend into knowing this is my new life. This is my new life. My mom, like the people around, it does take a village with or without a son when it comes to trying to tap into a new world where you're trying to be great at something. And it's just like, the people around you on a day-to-day, they might know you since you were a child or
Mm-hmm.
from years ago or when you
Yeah.
worked at a retail or you did something entirely different than from what you're doing right now. So it's just they're back with all of these images and memories that sometimes they can forget. Like I think I'm an adult,
Yes.
now, and
Yes.
I have a son, I have a business. So it's just like with growing, it's just like I had to foster everybody else around me, like tell them like this is the new me, and this
Mm-hmm.
is what I'm gonna tolerate, what I'm not, this is what I got time for. So I get great feedback, like a great
Nice.
support. Like people when they like if my mom or a best friend of mine talks to me, they'd be like, "Oh, so how's business?" Like
Yeah.
they're not gonna be like, "Oh, so you're gonna cook today? I know you're gonna cook today. You have to
Mhm.
eat. I know you probably clean something because you like to clean."
Right.
But now it's like, how's business going? Or
Hmm.
how's your clients? Or like, I love your website. I saw it. Like now the conversations and everything it's entirely different. So you get a different level of support knowing that you're
Hmm.
not doing it on. So I really
I
think
love
that's
it.
important too. Yeah.
Now, as you started transitioning into entrepreneur and also fostering those relationships, did you find any pushback from, as you said, some of the friends you grew up with and that have memories of, back in the day, and helping them transition to, seeing you as an entrepreneur, seeing you as a mother, seeing you as a leader that you are in the space that you're in now?
I did, but it was more so because of my delivery. Like I think
Okay.
one of the things that when especially with motherhood, like a lot of female, experience postpartum and I went
Okay.
through that too. Until this day, like I might get little triggers, but then I'm capable to understand what's going on that I can manage it a lot better. But
Hmm.
in the beginning, especially moving into a new house, really going full in and committed to my business and being a mom, like I was hit with those three things at the same time
Hmm.
that I couldn't deliver what I really needed. Like I couldn't communicate or
Yeah.
articulate the feelings that I had. So a lot of the pushback was because a lot of people were struggling on what it is I needed or how to help
Okay.
me. So and it doesn't help that they have like these images and memories of knowing who I am. I always been independent. I
Hmm.
always lived by myself, took care of myself, paid my own bills, like I for a very, very long time.
Right.
So they just see me and they be like, "You're independent. You're a go-getter. You can do it. What do you need? What you mean you need help? You can do it." I'm like, "No, I'm struggling." So it was really hard for me to even know how to be vulnerable
Okay.
and really voice what it is that's going on. And so the pushback that I really got was from the fact that they saw me as a Miss Independent. So there
Hmm.
was they had confused, like, what do you mean you need help? What is it? What am I doing wrong? And it's
Right.
just like, no, it's not that nobody's doing anything wrong. It's just my delivery is not coming out clear. And then you think that I can do everything, which, I feel like I might can do everything on my own,
Uh,
but still. So that
Independent folks definitely need assistance from time to time.
yeah, so I think that was the only pushback, but it was just because of miscommunication
Hmm.
and not fostering, like, now like fostering those relationship into telling, showing them and talking to them differently, like, hey, I'm a different person now. So
Yeah.
this is really what I'm about. So it took some time, but they have grace, mercy, and love on me. So,
Hmm.
it's not like they were gonna abandon me
Yes.
all my loved ones.
Right.
So, um, so
Okay.
yeah, that was the only thing.
Okay. And now, as you were growing up and developing, like you had so many different examples of entrepreneurship around you. Do you find yourself, or do you plan on incorporating some examples and helping your son when he becomes older age into like helping guide him into entrepreneurship, or at least giving him the option?
Oh yeah, definitely. I even right now he's too young, but we want to put him in a school so that he can really learn how to interact with other kids, but also most importantly for him to really find out what he enjoys doing.
Right.
As far as like, oh, if it's something like building, we start to realize I think he likes numbers like me. I got my
Okay.
finance degree, so I
Oh,
feel like
nice.
he likes
Okay.
numbers. So whatever it is that we realize that we feel like he just have a knack for, we want to be able to explore it as, you know, as deep as possible to where he's comfortable with it.
Mhm.
Um, I want to be a little bit unorthodox when it comes to educating my son. And I
Okay.
want him to be able to really look at all the resources and everything he has available to him to come up with a really concise decision on what it is that he wants for his future. And definitely, like even right now, like with the schedule that we have,
Hmm.
it I mean, it's bound to happen that he's gonna probably enjoy the flexibility. Like, oh, my mom is home and she's working at home.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, my dad comes home pretty early. You
Uh-huh.
know, like it's like things like that. He's gonna be around that environment that I'm pretty sure is going to strike some sort of interest to seeing how he can have a similar lifestyle. So
Hmm.
whatever I hope to be as best as I can to really instill in him anything that I have learned. So yeah.
And I think that when you are exposed to that type of lifestyle, it's hard to see anything other as a possibility, and, having you and everything that you're doing, I think that, I'm sure that he's going to find his way and do amazing things as well. So
Yes.
I'm excited for you all, for sure.
You know what's funny is that like his dad works all week. And
Mhm.
so my son is smart in a weird, you know, I don't want to say weird way, but when he see his dad like on the weekday, like cause he's on the schedule, we try to have a
Mhm.
routine. And when he see his dad home, he's like looking at him like, why is he here? Like, why is he like why is he home right now? So it's just like he's very aware of like, okay, something's going on, like we're going somewhere, or something's
Right.
different, you know, and just try to imagine like a little baby like in their head, like the
Yes.
way they
Figuring
look
out the
and
world.
stuff. Yeah, so I really love to see that. I'm excited. I think that's probably the most that I love how young he is, but I'm really excited to like
Yes.
to take care of him and you know teach him. That's the most exciting part for me.
I love it. I love it. Now, as far as your business goes, how do you see yourself growing in the future? Where do you see yourself going? And what are some of the things that you're focusing on? Do you have any like goals set out for your business in the future?
So right now, I definitely I would love to transition into a firm where I have my own team and
Mm,
providing additional services that can really, you know, focus on the whole scope of a business.
yes.
So like actually having a financial department and a marketing department, an
Mm,
operational department so that, you know, kind of if you see my logo is like a roof and like so many buildings on top
hmm.
of it, so it's kind of like what I want to offer is just we're all in one roof. You know, I don't
I
want to
love it.
take over the world, but I would want to hire like the right experts that can really take on those projects or be part of those departments in my business
Hmm.
so that it run on itself. So I really want to be able to grow into a really good business management firm, and focus this year. I'm about to admit it out loud, but is I really would like to be at least a keynote speaker. I want to be able to tap into my element to speak, you know,
Yeah.
in business summits or you know in big networking event that are
Hmm.
aligned with my business and just provide my insight and perspective on whatever it is that I have to offer. And I would like to create an app, a management app. So those are like three big goals for
Well,
me.
I'm excited and looking forward to all three of those. I think that you offer so much, and even just in this call, you offer so much value and information as far as uh, from outside perspective, looking at an entrepreneur or looking at a business and how entrepreneurs could better structure their business and how we could hire OBMs and that type of service provider, or that type of, I really kind of look at it as a partnership, like an unofficial partnership, because you are adding that much value to businesses. So, I think, I'm excited and looking forward to all three of those things. I think, you just spoke them into existence.
I know.
So,
I'm super excited.
and now, as far as entrepreneurs or CEOs, business owners, what have you, reaching out for your services, how could we find you? How could we, how could we start that process to set up, a work relationship and working together?
So my Instagram is Mari the Manager. That's Mari the Manager. And the link, my website link, which is on my Instagram, is marithemanager.me, M-E. So
Okay.
marithemanager.me. On there you'll find all my links to some my freebies, discovery call if you want to book an advisory call, and my management services. So basically my Instagram and my website link is the same name.
Okay.
So on there, I say book a discovery call. It's free. And on that discovery call, which will be 30 minutes, we'll quickly go over everything that you need, and I'll be able to determine which package will benefit for you at that current state and time.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Now, one last question. As an entrepreneur, if you were to give advice to the next wave of entrepreneurs, what would that piece of advice be? Take your time.
I feel like I kind of said it already. Let me see. I would say don't focus so much on the money. Focus on yourself and being the best version of yourself and really aligning yourself with your true values, because you can monetize off of that. And if you monetize something that is of true value and is of yourself, it's not hard to go ahead and live that life every single day. So if you love clothing line, if you love creating clothes or
Right.
fashion, then live in that true value, and trust me, the money will come from it. So just don't think about money and focus on just making sure you're a true version of yourself every single day, and organize.
And organize. You gotta add
Organize
that in. You
it.
definitely have to add that in.
So
Well,
yeah.
Mari, it's been truly a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me here on today's episode of Building a Brand podcast. And it was really nice speaking with you. I truly appreciate you being with us.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Yes.
Thanks. I'm excited. Thank you for the opportunity. I'll talk to you later.
Yes, I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
That will conclude today's episode of the Building a Brand interview podcast series. Be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for future episodes where we will bring on additional guests to share their journey. Also, share today's episode because there's someone out there that you may or may not know that needs the information in this series. Again, my name is Jeremy Patton, and you have just tuned into the Building a Brand podcast interview series. Until next time, remember, you got this. You just got to keep going.